The MonsterVerse needs Monster Island. Some of my biggest issues with the MonsterVerse have lingered for years. In Godzilla King of the Monsters, King Ghidorah causes a mass awakening that results in the titans around the world rising again. While Ghidorah does this for evil intent, the titans are not evil. They are large animals, and in the lore of the MonsterVerse, serve vital functions to the survival of the planet. Millions of years before Godzilla 2014, titans roamed the Earth. They were the guardians of nature and kept the planet in homeostasis. When things would tilt out of alignment, Godzilla and others of his kind, at least according to Dr. Serizawa, would step in to tip the scales back to balance. As radiation levels on the surface dissipated, many of the titans burrowed into subterranean pockets where they could soak up residual radiation from the Hollow Earth, theorized to be the original birthplace of the titans. In 2019, Ghidorah's mass awakening accelerated the rise of the titans. Now, over 17 kaiju roamed the planet. Rather than exploring the implications and complications of having a world of monsters, or deepening our understanding of Godzilla's role as nature's balance by showing which creatures he understands are healing the planet and which creatures he learns are destroying it, we got Godzilla Dominion. At the end of Godzilla King of the Monsters, we learned that Emma Russell's plan had real merit to it. If she successfully awakened the right titans, they would heal the Earth's ecosystem and save the planet from humanity's destruction. In Godzilla Dominion, we see many of the titans attempting to return to their homes, or struggling to fit into the modern world. Instead of giving us long-term consequences for this enormous paradigm-shifting event, we see Godzilla stop one titan from accidentally detonating a nuclear bomb at sea while trying to eat it, then he stops a grudge match between two titans fighting over the Amazon. On his way to find a new home, he discovers humans trapping and trying to kill a titan, which he frees, and these three incidents seem to be enough for Godzilla to write the entire challenge of being a good king of the monsters off, instead opting to unleash a never-before-seen telepathic ability to call the titans to sleep. And so the titans do. They just go back to sleep as if nothing ever happened. One of my big issues with this is that if Godzilla was truly concerned with the balance of nature, he would realize that the titans are serving a massive purpose. Behemoth is restoring rainforests and fertilizing land. His presence in ecosystems revives animals off the endangered species list. Scylla starts to reverse the ice melt. The titans are all collectively reversing the harmful effects humanity have had on the planet. This could have been the start of a very interesting conflict for Godzilla, where he starts to realize that the species having the most harmful effect on the planet is humans. Even his fight with Scylla could have been avoided if humanity hadn't created atomic bombs that devastate areas they're unleashed within. Following this, Godzilla proves to be a horrible king of the monsters. He rules the surface world like a tyrannical dictator. Any titan who steps out of line gets an instant death sentence. Godzilla is enraged due to a million-year-old race war between his species and Kong's and tries to kill Kong for forcibly being taken off Skull Island. That's fine. At least there's a reason for it, no matter how vain it makes Godzilla seem. But when Scylla awakens and starts attacking Rome, Godzilla appears and kills her without hesitation. While Bernie Hayes speculates she might be trying to challenge the title of king, he also theorizes that she could just simply be trying to nest and have kids. Scylla wouldn't have a need to become the king of the monsters. This theory makes no sense. The turtle does not bow to the lion as the king of the jungle. Alpha predators are not the same thing as alpha pack leaders. Ghidorah commands the surface world titans using alien abilities. Godzilla does not have this power. His title of king comes from his old duty to protect nature's balance. Scylla might be a part of the same food chain as Godzilla, the alpha predator, but she wouldn't want to rival him as the pack leader. The only species that should care about this title, at least according to their roles in the MonsterVerse ecosystem, are Godzilla, Ghidorah, Kong, and humanity. Scylla and all the other titans are just animals acting with animal instincts. A titan mating shouldn't be a death sentence. The Muto's mating was a problem because they were parasites that specifically feed on Godzilla. Killing them was a necessity to ensure his survival. Scylla? Not so much. Even in the original scripts for Godzilla Kong the New Empire, the monster in Rome was Charybdis, a member of Scylla's species who was more aggressive than the king of the monsters, Scylla. This means that the writers of the MonsterVerse understand that the titans are part of species, and that there should could be multiple of each species without it being a doomsday scenario. Unless Godzilla fears that there is not enough radiation on the surface for both him and other titans, he shouldn't have an issue with Scylla nesting in Rome. Scylla reversed ice melt, and her children could also do the same. Humanity is the one melting the ice. Godzilla should encourage the destruction of cities so that nature can heal. He doesn't for some unexplained reason. Godzilla clearly has no allegiance to humanity, given how willing he was to attack them in Godzilla vs. Kong for simple things, like taking Kong off Skull Island, which didn't even disturb nature's balance. But if the conflict was that Godzilla feared having to share resources, because if other titans exist in the modern age, he can't be strong enough to protect the Earth from truly important threats like Ghidorah or Mechagodzilla, this would be the basis for a truly interesting and exciting story. How can Godzilla be a good king of the monsters and protect nature's balance if he has to kill any titan that wakes up out of fear that they will use the resources he needs to protect them? What should he do with them? Where should they go? The titans shouldn't be forced to sleep until they die. This is a fate not even Scar King was subjecting his kingdom to. This is where Monster Island comes into play. One of the few things Godzilla 2014 director Gareth Edwards ever said about where his Godzilla trilogy was heading was, with the exception of the 1954 original, I would say my second favorite Godzilla film is Destroy All Monsters. I just love the idea of a monster island, having a world with these creatures in it. I find that fascinating and would like to treat that realistically. Besides, the MonsterVerse filmmakers continue to celebrate how the MonsterVerse has followed the trajectory of the Showa series, with fans celebrating each movie going, quote, more Showa than the last. But how can we truly go full Showa without Monster Island, its most iconic setting? In some ways, Hollow-Earth already satisfies a lot of these ideas. Hollow-Earth gave us an expansive world of monsters and has provided them with an infinite source of Hollow-Earth radiation. Why wouldn't Godzilla just send the Titans there? If it were that simple, I believe he would have already done so. On the one hand, it would be hard for Godzilla to drag a monster to a Hollow-Earth portal and force them inside, and on the other, the Titans don't belong in Hollow-Earth. Hollow-Earth is a completely different ecosystem with completely different needs. If Godzilla were to flood it with surface titans who developed and evolved on the surface, they would either be killed or would destroy the habitats as invasive species. On the other hand, it would also be devastating for the surface world. The titans serve vital functions, and they are needed to offset the effects humanity has had on the globe. What Godzilla needs is a place to send the titans where they have resources on the surface world and can thrive without taking the resources he needs to defend the planet while having access to Hollow-Earth if they desire, all the while letting them roam and live without fear of being killed just for waking up. This also protects humanity from the Titans and protects the Titans from humanity. What Godzilla needs is Monster Island, and luckily for him, we already have one. While not every Titan would be a good fit, Skull Island is the perfect home for the Titans. A little bit of Hollow-Earth on the surface world already. Some of the more destructive and malicious Titans might need to be put down before they arrive at Skull Island, but many of the others could have long, happy lives there. Kong outgrew Skull Island because he couldn't get the resources he needed from it, but this is because the Kong species consumes radiation in a very unusual form in the MonsterVerse. They can't just eat nuclear bombs, nor do they get enough radiation from plants alone. Much like how humans can't absorb the sun's radiation for energy directly, the Kongs need to eat other titans and superspecies that absorb radiation more directly. Skull Island no longer had enough protein and nutrients for a secondary or tertiary consumer like Kong. But how about a strictly secondary consumer like Behemoth, or a primary consumer like Scylla? They could thrive on Skull Island. The only issue is that humanity caused the destruction of Skull Island, once again proving that the biggest threat to nature's balance and the Titans is humanity. By awakening Ghidorah, who unleashed a never-ending storm near Skull Island, and then magnetizing the storm to the island through tampering with a Hollow-Earth portal, humans destroyed the island by locking a powerful storm in place that flooded it. If only there were a Titan who displayed the impressive ability to dissipate one of Ghidorah's hurricanes with a single flap of a wing. Mothra. Mothra could be the key to the entire MonsterVerse problem. If Mothra were to visit Skull Island and repel Ghidorah's storm, she could provide a sanctuary for the surface titans and finally provide them with a home. Then it would be up to Godzilla to herd the monsters to Skull Island. Monarch could continue to prove that the bond between Godzilla and humanity is the key to coexistence by helping him with the use of an orca on Skull Island to draw the titans in, just as was planned in early versions of the script for Godzilla vs. Kong. If Skull Island's natural protective storm barrier was erased by Mothra, Monarch could set up defenses around the island to both keep the surface titans there while also protecting them from outside human forces, just like in the Showa series. They could even set up an outpost there and study the monsters. Beyond just solving the countless problems in the world of the MonsterVerse, this would also be an incredibly exciting opportunity for fans to see Godzilla visit Skull Island, and to see the Godzilla Island prophecy finally realized in full. The idea of a monster island first became popular with 1933's King Kong, as audiences were introduced to Skull Island for the first time. The inspiration is also why Godzilla's first ever appearance is on Odo Island in 1954. Skull Island has been the inspiration for countless Godzilla stories, including King Kong vs. Godzilla, Ebra, Horror of the Deep, Son of Godzilla, pretty much the entire back half of the Showa series, Godzilla vs. Space Godzilla, and more. In short, we need Monster Island. The world needs it. Thank you guys all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons over on Patreon. It is through the support of the patrons on Patreon that I'm able to continue to make videos like this for you. If you want to see more content like this, please consider joining the Patreon using the link in the description below, where you can get early access to content, access to the Discord community, and more. If that's not your thing, please consider joining as a channel member. I'd really appreciate it. Thank you guys all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I will see you all next time for the next one. D-Man, out.